Her pinned video, the one that she's most proud of, the one that she wants you to see, it starts like this.
Hi, I'm not a man.
Boom. Done. That's all you need to know. I could end the video right now. Coach Greg, and yet again, we got a woman open, honest, transparent about all the horrendous side effects of taking steroids. What you may not realize is just because you take steroids, you're not going to look like a bodybuilder. It doesn't guarantee winning any bikini competition. But what it does guarantee is if you take it at high enough doses for long enough, you're slowly going to transition into a man. And so her name is Foolin' Coconut, Erin Segovia. She's happily married and a gym rat. Her pinned video, the one that she's most proud of, the one that she wants you to see, it starts like this.
Hi, I'm not a man.
Boom. Done. That's all you need to know. I could end the video right now. Gonna go into a deep dive, gonna explain everything that's happened. Imagine walking around life and thinking every time I open up my mouth, people are thinking that I'm trans, that I'm a man, and having to worry about what they're thinking about me. That is a stress I wouldn't want to have. When you look at this woman, do you see steroids? I see none. She seems to be fairly attractive, above average looking. However, she is obese. And what she truly wanted throughout her entire life was to be attractive. I mean, who doesn't? I want to, you want to, we all want to be attractive. And for her, she thought the answer was steroids. I do believe that the majority of females and males who take steroids are hoping to be somehow a little bit more attractive, to somehow look better, possibly feel better, think better, but better is what they're thinking.
I used to be a bodybuilder. I didn't have natural muscle mass because women cannot go over growing 3 pounds of muscle mass a year.
Whoa, okay. Just because she's open, honest, and transparent doesn't mean she understands female physiology. Women can absolutely gain more than 3 pounds in a year. If you have horrible genetics, you don't train properly, you don't supplement, you're not eating a lot of protein, yeah, you'll struggle to put on 3 pounds. But for most females, they can still put on 3 pounds of muscle. And on average, the average female gains 50% of the amount of muscle that you would if you were a man. And so if you say a man could gain, for example, 10 pounds of muscle in a year, some people with decent genetics can easily do that, maybe some even 20. A female could gain about half. And so if you as a man are watching this and thinking, well, I put on 10 pounds of muscle my first year of training, or maybe you put on 20. A woman could put on about half. And so to say you could only put on 3 pounds of muscle, a woman would be like saying a man could only put on 6. A lot of men are putting on more pounds than 6.
It's not science. Women can't naturally do that.
It is science, and women can, in fact, do that. Now, I'm not trying to put her down. I'm just trying to correct her. And so I don't want all the women out there thinking, you know what, I need to use steroids, I need to use Anavar, I need to use SARMs, Osterine, Rad 140, whatever, because I'm a woman, I can't put on more than 3 pounds of muscle in a year. You absolutely can, and most women can actually do that fairly easily.
So I had to get on some steroids.
I think it's a good time to point out that no, you don't need to get on steroids. And if you're a woman, this makes even more sense for you. I mean, I can understand if some men are thinking, hey, I need steroids to put on muscle. But for a woman, steroids are even more risky. And so why not use Turk Builder Max or Turk Platinum? It's going to help women even more. I often get messages, is it okay for women to use? It's even better for women to use. And so by leveraging the benefits of Ajuga Turkistanica, you can make much more dramatic gains. Women will notice this more than even men. And trust me, the feedback we're getting, the comments, the reviews, they are amazing. And so if you're a woman, you got to get on Turk Builder Max or Turk Platinum.
Because I wanted to do bodybuilding. I wanted to have, I did bikini, I did figure, I did wellness.
The reason was none of those categories suited her because she wasn't lean enough. There, I said it. She's not lean. She's obese. What happened was, she went down the route of taking steroids in order to get lean. If you're a woman, you essentially have one job in order to look attractive. Don't be fat. You don't want to believe me? Oh, Coach Greg is an asshole. I tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You want to hear that if you take steroids, you're going to look attractive, you're going to look amazing, you'll win bikini competition. Nope. What you need is genetics And if you don't have it, all the drugs in the world are not going to help you. You can put on more muscle, sure, but if you don't have the genetics, you're not going to win. And so what does a woman actually need in order to look attractive? What did she need? She needed to lose body fat, and to do so, you need to be in a calorie deficit. Now, there is a ton of ways to do that. She tried Clen, probably got on T3. She admits to being on Clen, and she took steroids. Now, is that going to help? Of course it is. Some of the food that she's eating is going to turn to muscle. But you know what would have helped even more? GLP Max. Even a natural over-the-counter supplement would have helped her more than Anavar, D-Bol, Pro Hormones, you name it. This would help more. And why? You're thinking it can't help that much. Reduces your appetite by about 28%. People are taking it, dramatically notice a decrease in hunger. When you're less hungry, you don't want to eat as much. I started using this. 5 days later, I had to stop. Why? Wasn't hungry enough to eat. Was losing energy, getting too lean. I'm on a bike and I'm going hypo and I'm thinking, what's going on? I'm thinking, well, I hardly eat. I'm not hungry enough. And so when you're not hungry enough, you eat less calories. And when you eat less calories, you're going to lose weight. And so if she took this, it would have been enough. She would have lost weight. Now, if you have type 2 diabetes, you're morbidly obese, you're perhaps 300 pounds. Maybe it's not enough to get you to your dream weight, down to a bikini competition, but they have something known as GLP-1s. For example, have you heard of Ozempic? I'm sure you have. There's other things like tirzepatide as well as retatrutide. Have you heard of these things? These are injectable things, basically like this, but it's injectable. And so those are the drugs that would have given her what she really wanted: to be lean and to compete in a bikini competition. She started in bikini, didn't do so well. She wasn't lean enough. She switched into figure. They said, hey, that's a better category for you because she wasn't good looking enough. And that didn't work. And she eventually went into wellness and it didn't turn out so well at all. That's the nature of the sport. If you don't have a minuscule looking waist, the wide shoulders to the small waist, and the derriere, you're not going to compete and do very well in women's competition.
In order to do that, and in order to do wellness, to have them monster ass legs, you've got to put on some muscle mass. And what I had to do, we had to jump on some steroids.
Or you stay natural and use Turk Builder Max and you compete in a drug-tested competition. Yeah, a lot of those figure girls, they have girls as big as me. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to downplay it. You look at the Olympia and the girls, they look like men. Their legs are gargantuan. If you look at drug-tested competitions where the women are significantly smaller, not saying that they're all natural, but they are in fact a lot smaller. And so you keep training, 10 more years, and you do it then. People think they joined the gym during that time where you had to wear a mask, and a couple months later, I need to do a competition. How long do you think it took me to earn my IFBB Pro card? 25 years. I started training when I was 10. I turned professional at 35. 50 times I competed, and I hear all these people, they're using steroids on their very first competition. I'm like, bro, try competing natural first. You haven't even done a show yet. Have you even been to the gym for 5 years? When you've been training to the gym for only 1 to 3 years, you're literally a beginner. Not many sports can you compete at a very high level as a beginner. Oh, I just joined basketball. How long have you been playing? Oh, it's 2 years. Yeah, I'm trying out for the university basketball team. Some can do it. Amazing genetics. Been playing basketball for 2 years, you make the team, no problem. Some people, they start running. 6 months later, they're running marathons and they might even be winning. They're just phenoms. Same applies in bodybuilding, bikini, and so on. They have amazing shape. They go to the gym, they look at a weight, their ass grows about 3 inches. They get up on stage and they're a champion. Those people are freaks, the one in a millions. It does in fact happen.
So if you meet me in person, or if you talk to me in person, don't try to steer clear of me or not and avoid me at all costs.
Honestly, her voice isn't all that bad. I'm being totally honest here. If I heard her, I wouldn't be thinking this is trans. I'd be thinking, yeah, she probably used a little bit of steroids, but it doesn't seem all that bad. I've seen far worse.
I'm friendly. I'm not transgender. I was just once a bodybuilder and my voice got deeper.
And trust me, do you know how many girls I've coached in my history, in my lifetime? A lot. And they sound much worse than this. I've had females hire me and I'm thinking, is this actually a woman? I'm like, are they pranking me right now? I had one woman, I remember about 15 years ago, she called me up very sad, very disappointed. She didn't know what to say. She said, I went to the drive-thru at McDonald's and they said, would you like fries with that, sir? She says, I'm a woman. And I'm on the phone and I'm like, look, your voice has changed dramatically. And so that 80 milligrams of equipoise that you're injecting each and every week, it's too much. You shouldn't be using it. That is not a drug made for women. And so it always starts like this. You start with Ostarine and or Anavar. Well, almost always. And then you get major gains from it and you love it. You slowly transition. Your brain is thinking differently. You're thinking more like a man and you're thinking, I need to up the doses. I need more. What else can I take? And people that don't have a lot of money, instead of taking more Anavar or drugs that are more expensive, they then resort to, well, what can I get away for $100? What can I use? They'll take injectables that are getting stronger. For example, Tren, very cheap for being very strong. And so for only $100, a woman could take Tren for probably an entire year and slowly transition to being a freaking man. It literally would happen. You got to be careful. Don't cheap out on your stack. Don't cheap out. It isn't worth it.
I'm a natural woman. It's in my chromosomes, and I can bear children.
Not natural woman. She's a non-natty woman. She literally admits to taking steroids. She's not a natural woman. She's a woman who is not natural.
I have periods.
Thankfully, because steroids can in fact prevent you from having periods. It can cause amenorrhea. You can actually affect your ability to have kids. And so if you're a woman, you got to be careful.
This is me. This is how I looked growing up. Of course, I got the same getting picked on as a kid and even by my family.
There tells the story. You want to know what person is like right now? Look at their childhood. What do you think led to her using steroids? The way she was treated, probably was bullied, teased, made fun of for being overweight, wasn't taught how to eat properly, probably never watched Coach Greg, never knew to put the fork down, to do 150 minutes of cardio a week, never knew all of those things, perhaps didn't enjoy physical education class, of which I used to be a teacher. And so I would see kids like this all the time. They didn't want to take part in sports. They didn't want to be active. I did my best to encourage them to find something that they like so that they could do that for the rest of their life. Oftentimes it was as simple as walking. And I would encourage this. Hey, you guys are all going to play basketball. You guys, I want you to go outside, go for a walk around the school, do some laps. What would you like to do? What would make you happy? Because physical fitness should be about having fun. And if you don't like what we're doing, playing basketball, volleyball, whatever, if you don't like that, then what's the point? I mean, you're in high school now. Now, when they were kids, elementary school, grade primary, I needed to teach them the fundamentals. How to run, throw, skip, jump, hop, all of that stuff so that when they get older, they are proficient in their skill set enough to enjoy playing sports. If you can't throw a ball, if you can't catch, run, jump, do you know how hard sports are? You can't do anything. Oh, let's now do gymnastics. You kidding? I'm not doing a roll, but if you can, all these things are fun. Physical activity, it's enjoyable. If you liked phys ed or physical fitness as much as I do, all of you would be active right now. Why would you avoid doing things that you love? I love playing sports. I love being active. I love racing on the bike, or whether it's canoeing or kayaking or jogging, whatever that may be, I loved all of it. And so if I have to play pickleball or tennis, I'm doing it. But if I had no skill set, like I sucked at it, would I want to do it? Probably not. And so what happened to this child is she was bullied, teased, made fun of, put down, perhaps even by her family, and it led to her having low self-confidence and low self-esteem. And so once she got older, what do you think it was that she craved? Not just wanted, but craved, as in she needed it. She needed to feel loved by other people, to feel desirable. And that led to her going to the gym.
So this is me pushing myself naturally, no steroids, and honey, baby, I was good.
And initially, it worked. She started losing weight. She started looking better, feeling better. She is clearly proud of herself. When she was 100% natural, she was proud of her body. She was proud of her work, making improvements, and she was happy. But then
I was serious. I was addicted. People would message me and ask me, how in the are you doing this?
Everything was hunky-dory. I mean, what else can you ask for? She's losing the weight. She's happy. She's proud. Where did it all go wrong? And so I'm scrolling through, swiping through, and it says, I'm not a man. I was made into a meme. I'm so dead right now. You got to appreciate the fact that she can laugh at herself, because what I notice is that people out there are going to bully forever. It ain't gonna stop. And if you let it affect you, then the bullies win. When they say things to you, you don't have to accept it. I don't need to be hurt by your opinion of me. And if you can do that, life is going to get a lot better. If you can make light of things, understand that online, it's not real life. It's kind of like bro from Bangladesh. Do you really care what he thinks? I mean, if they lived on Krypton or on Mars and they were in a different galaxy far, far away and they were looking at your Instagram and writing comments, ha, 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 like, and you really care about what that person 7 billion light years away is thinking of you, it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter!
Care about what your friends and family think, maybe at most, but really, it's what you think that really matters.
I was noticing naturally that I had my cut right there, you see, is, separating from the pit area. And then I noticed that I did have capped shoulders.
And so you can see she's clearly making progress. She's lost a lot of the weight. She's seeing definition in the armpit. The cap delts are starting to form. She's getting some bicep definition. She has a bit of a line in between here. When you get really lean, you see almost like a Pac-Man. She's starting to get leaner. And to be a bikini competitor at the highest level, like winning, you have to be around sub 15% body fat as a female. It's very, very lean. Many of the women who are getting that lean are amenorrheic. They don't have their period. It's an unhealthy amount of body fat that you have to have. It's actually not good for you. And so bikini competitions is not inherently healthy, but she's making improvements and she's happy. She's won an award for being consistent with her CrossFit and her training. And so clearly she's proud of herself and she's still natural.
I would legit always put these photos side by side because I thought that they were just so immaculate,
For being natural, it's pretty lit. It's pretty legit. Too legit to quit. And so she's still at it. Now remember, she said a pant is a size 7. It's very lean compared to where she was, but in bikini competitions, I mean, if you're anything above a size 4, I hate to break it to you, you're probably not going to win. That is bikini competitions. You have to be so lean to the point that most people should say, you look unhealthy. She's doing really good, but it isn't quite good enough. Now, is it? No matter how good you get, the goalpost, it keeps moving. No matter how close you get to your goal, it's never going to be reached. You just can't get there. It always keeps moving further.
Bam! I knew somebody, a coach who had some steroids. I hit him up. And this is me on my first round of poor hormones.
Bam. Look at the difference, she says. And so, yeah, you see a little bit of extra thickness. I do see a little bit more body fat, a little bit more muscle. She has that glenohumeral fat distribution where you'll have a lot of fat in the lower half, for example, in your hips and so on. And then in the arm area, the women we know as a pear shape, of which 75% of people have that. Men, 50% have that apple shape. And so men more so, they gain fat in the stomach over in here. Women, they'll gain fat more in this area and in the hips and the thighs. And so women are actually fortunate in this way because by having less fat in your stomach and more in your hips, you actually live a little bit longer. Did you know that men's life expectancy is less than women? And the reason for that, aside from the fact that women stress us the fuck, let's be honest, is because women carry more body fat in their lower half, men more in their stomachs. And the closer the fat is to the heart, for example, the visceral fat, the more risky, deadly it is, the more likely to cause cardiovascular disease. And so other people refer to this glenohumeral fat distribution as gynoid fat distribution. And the reason for this, I do believe it's primarily due to female hormones like estrogen and so on. And men, they're more of the android fat distribution. Remember, again, I said the apple shape. And so depending on your hormones and so on, you can actually store fat in different areas. And so it's one of the reasons that a lot of females are going to take, for example, Nolvadex or estrogen blockers or SERMs, if you will, because they're trying to reduce reduce the amount of fat and water held in their bodies. And so if they reduce the water retention, they look a little bit drier, leaner, and that will help them when they compete on stage. And so as a female, if you're a bikini competitor, what essentially you're trying to do is to look more like a man. I used to watch those talk shows and they get the guys and they would dress up as women and they would come out and you'd have to say, man or woman, and you couldn't tell. And so people get tricked and you're thinking, well, how could this be? How could a man be better at being a woman than a woman? Well, because male hormones actually help women to look more like the ideal. Sometimes if you use it a little bit. And so what does that mean? Well, if you're a woman and you take Anavar and you compete in a bikini competition, wellness or whatever, you're going to have more muscle. And so the look for that fit model, it's having more muscle, of which it's harder for women to get. She did say you can only gain maybe 3 pounds of muscle in a year. Of course, it's more than that, but it is harder for women to put on muscle than men. They have less testosterone. And so by giving females androgens, they're able to build more muscle. Now, women also have more body fat and they carry more water retention. And so by lowering the estrogen, reducing it, putting it at bay, the woman can now appear more manly. It's more manly to have lower body fat levels and higher muscle and less water. And so as a woman on stage in a bikini competition, when you're winning, you're a little bit of a man. It's kind of manly. Now we look at it and we think you look hot, the glutes and the twisting and the ponytail and the hair and the high heel stilettos and so on, wearing the scrunch bums, strutting your thing, turn and face the curtain in the rear. And so, yeah, you look hot, but you are a little bit manly, and we like it. That is why women take steroids. That's why they're taking Nolvadex. That's why they're taking everything. And to the same extent, you notice how when men take steroids, they kind of look a bit more puffy, bloated a bit, moon face, and so on. That's because testosterone is converting to estrogen, a female hormone, and making you turn into a female. It sounds counterintuitive. You're taking more testosterone, makes you more manly, but some of it's converting to estrogen and you're turning more womanly. And so, for example, the Tren twins, they talked about, I believe when they're taking Tren, one of them was literally lactating from his nipples. Milk was coming out. And so how does that sound manly? It happens very, very often. Bros just don't often talk about it. And so when you do abuse steroids, you need to be careful. I'm not making this shit up.
But yeah, it's my first round of pro hormones right here.
And so she first started by taking pro hormones. Now, I don't know which one of those are, but depending on what they are, they could have been very, very strong. Pro hormones, technically, in my opinion, are a gateway drug to harsher things. However, there's a thing known as Superdrol that was sold as a pro hormone probably just over 20 years ago. Superdrol is way stronger than Anavar. Way stronger. I've taken it, trust me. It's freaking strong. Women, you shouldn't be taking it. If you took Superdrol and you thought it was a pro hormone, holy goodness gracious, you're going to get some side effects. And so depending on the pro hormones that you're taking or the doses, you can experience horrendous side effects. You might have damaged liver, kidneys, convert into being a man. Remember, we don't want the deeper voice, the Adam's apple, the growth of the downstairs, the female region. Let's just say it like that. We don't want you to go bald. And so please be careful.
I started to notice my legs. My legs were like one of the first things that I've noticed. I was like, oh my God, I got quads now. Like, because I've always envied people with quads.
Not gonna lie, I like a girl with some quads, with some meat on her legs and so on. I like some curves. I prefer less the stick models, but hey, everyone likes what they like, to each their own. And so if you're a woman that has a lot of muscle, hey, that can look good. If you have less muscle, that can also look good. What doesn't look good for 99% of people, though, is a shit ton of fat. If you're morbidly obese, hey, try to lose it. And it's not just about the aesthetics. I understand that would perhaps be a little bit selfish to just want to look good. We know health is more important than appearance, blah, blah, blah. But with reality, most people would rather look good than actually be healthy. If you're overweight, like 50 pounds overweight, you're taking years off your life. You could get type 2 diabetes. There's a whole host of problems. And so lose the weight, especially in 2025. It's easier than ever with supplements like GLP Max. And of course, we have the injectables like those Ozempics and stuff if you can afford it. And not to mention, it's just like way easier. Today, you got like sugar-free or no added sugar ketchup. Didn't have that growing up. You got like Guy's barbecue sauce. Didn't have that growing up. Greek yogurt, 0% fat. You got aspartame, or you got other sweeteners sweetening everything. You got lower calorie milks. It's amazing. Even cashew milk. I never had this growing up. And so to me, dieting is easy. And the way the foods taste, like protein bars and so on, it is so night and day. It's almost as big a difference as competing natural versus enhanced. Dieting today, I'm sorry, it's literally a joke. The only thing you're fighting is cravings, actually being hunger. Like, that's the hardest part. Like, yeah, being weak and having no energy, that's going to happen at some point for many people. For me, it happens around 7% body fat. But like, getting leaner than you are right now, that's pretty easy. Now, being shredded and winning a competition, that's not easy. But if you're a man at 50% body fat, it's not really that hard to get to 30% body fat. And if you're a woman at, say, 30% body fat, it's not hard to get to 22. Like, you can do it. If you're interested, get the supplements that makes it easy. I didn't even mention, get the cookbook. Think of how much easier it is with low-calorie, delicious recipes. I had none of that. I had my parents buying chicken nuggets that I would put in the deep fryer and re-deep fry them because I didn't have a microwave. This is what it was like growing up. Guys, you have it easy. And so if you're not losing weight, find a way.